precision, uh, validation of test for assays and for quantitative determination of impurities includes an investigation of precision. Now, analytical methodologies, analytical procedures, they are of many types. Okay. Now, for all those different types of analytical procedures, all seven validation parameters are not necessary. So under every methodology validation parameter, it is mentioned that for which type of analytical method this particular parameter is applicable. If it is not mentioned under that, you need not apply that parameter to that type of analytical method, analytical procedure. Like for precision, if it is assay or it is impurity quantification, then only the precision should be carried out. Okay. Now, under precision, there is something called as repeatability. Okay, under precision, there is something called as repeatability. If you remember, there are three types of precisions. First is repeatability, second is intermediate precision, and third one is reproducibility. After looking at these three types, we will see what are recommended data. When I say recommended data, it is the data that that an analyst should produce, which can be submitted to authority to establish the new methodology. Okay, I will first tell you what is repeatability. रिपीटेबिलिटी का डेफिनेशन एक्सप्लेनेशन हमने ऑलरेडी देखा है, व्हाट इज रिपीटेबिलिटी, बट हाउ टू एस्टेब्लिश दैट रिपीटेबिलिटी अंडर प्रिसीजन, वी विल सी दैट repeatability should be assessed using, there are two methods, one of which should be followed. First method is a minimum of 9 determination covering the specified range of procedure. Now, when we are saying 9 determinations specified for a specific range, suppose the range is between 10 ppm, that is 10 microgram per ml to 100 microgram per ml. So I will select 3 concentration: the lower limit, that is 10 microgram per ml, the upper limit of the range, that is 100 microgram per ml, and one middle value, either 40 or 50 or 60. तीनों में से कोई भी एक, या फिर डेड 50 you can take. Okay, so I have selected 3 concentration, and for every concentration I will repeat the procedure 3 times. So this is how you are getting 9 determinations. Okay, I will repeat again. I will repeat again. Suppose the range for determination is between 10 microgram per ml to 100 microgram per ml. So I will select 3 concentration: 10 microgram per ml, 50 microgram per ml, and 100 microgram per ml. And that procedure that I am developing, analytical procedure, for every concentration, I will apply it 3 times. So 3 determinations at 10 microgram per ml, 3 determinations at 50 microgram per ml, and 3 determinations at 100 microgram per ml. So overall, I will get 9 determinations. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. Second way of doing it, a minimum of 6 determination at 100% of the test concentration. Now, this wording, 100% of the test concentration, this wording is important. See, my range for a particular determination by, say, UV spectrometry, if I plot the calibration graph, it may be, say, 10 ppm to maximum of 100 ppm. Okay, across this range the method may be valid, but when you devise a procedure for assay, it is generally certain value of concentration. It may be anything, it may be 30, it may be 50, it may be 70, anything. So any value in between is determined to carry out in the assay procedure. If you remember the assay of paracetamol tablet, using UV spectrometry, uh, the final concentration had the final concentration was, if I remember correctly, it was 10 ppm concentration for the test solution. Okay, so the range for accurately determining paracetamol from solution, it may be from say 5 ppm to 15 ppm, or 5 ppm to say 20 ppm, anything. But for the assay procedure, we must have a procedure with a fixed value of concentration. So for paracetamol, it was 10 ppm. So if I'm going to establish such procedure, I will take 6 determination of that 100% concentration, that is 10 ppm concentration of the test concentration. So for my test, what is 100% concentration? It is 10 ppm. You understand this part? What is 100% of the test concentration? Have you understood this part? Can you please tell me in the chat box? जो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन हम अपने मेथडोलॉजी में बता रहे हैं, वो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन को हम 100% कॉन्सेंट्रेशन बोलेंगे. So if the concentration is say 10 ppm, so we will repeat the procedure 6 times at that 10 ppm value. Okay, I hope you understood what is repeatability under precision. Now, next is called as intermediate precision. Okay, if you remember the definition, the explanation of the term intermediate precision, हमने बोला था we will keep the laboratory same, but we will change the analyst, we will change the equipment, और on different days. मैंने एक एग्जांपल दिया था, 2 पार्टनर्स काम कर रहे हैं, टाइट्रेशन कर रहे हैं, तो सेम सॉल्यूशन है, एनालाइट सॉल्यूशन सेम है, स्टैंडर्ड सॉल्यूशन जो ब्यूरेट में भरा है वो भी सेम है, लेकिन एक का रीडिंग अलग आता है, दूसरे का रीडिंग अलग आता है. तो अगर अलग अलग आता है तो उसमें इंटरमीडिएट प्रिसीजन नहीं है. Okay, so it is the same equipment, it is done on the same day, same time, but analysts are different. Okay, so that is called as intermediate precision. Now, the different groups, neighboring groups within the same batch performing the experiment on the same day. Okay, जैसे रोल नंबर 1 and 2 है, वो एक एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हैं टाइट्रेशन का, उसका बाजू वाला ग्रुप रोल नंबर 3 and 4, they are using different burette. Okay, they are using different conical flask, so their equipments are different, but ideally both group 1 2, roll number 1 2 and roll number 3 4, both of them should get the same result. Okay, because they are following the same methodology dictated by or determined by your journal, your teacher. Okay, anyway, I will tell you the methodology for the intermediate precision. The extent to which intermediate precision should be established depends on the circumstances under which the procedure is intended to be used. Okay, under which circumstances you are going to apply this analytical procedure, that should be considered. Like, suppose the equipment is very much expensive and it is likely that only analyst will change, only time and day will change, but the equipment should be remaining same. Like suppose you are using HPLC or UPLC, they are chromatographic expensive equipments. So when you are establishing the intermediate precision, you can eliminate or you can neglect the parameter that different equipments are used. Okay, sometimes suppose it is equipment like say NMR spectrophotometer. So generally in companies, in most of the companies, I should say, the NMR is handled by single person, and obviously being the equipment whose costing is between crores, the equipment will also remain in the same. So when you are establishing the intermediate precision for the methodology which involves NMR, for that part of the procedure, you need not consider different equipments and different analysts. You should consider some other parameter like different time of day, or slight variation in the in the say standard or something like that. Some other parameters you should think of. Okay. Have you understood this part? Have you understood the first point, or I will give, or I will explain? I will explain again. I'm sorry. Shall I proceed to next point? Okay. The applicant should establish the effects of random events on the precision of the analytical procedure. Now, random events means you have to measure, suppose, from pipette 1 ml. Okay. It will happen that one drop may be measuring more, or one drop measured less, or if you change the pipette, again the measurement will differ very slightly. Okay, so such random events that can happen, those should be considered. I give example, I gave example about pipette. It may be your weighing balance also. Okay, something related to weighing balance, you left the window open for that analytical balance, there will be very slight variation in weighing in that case. Okay, it it may be very small, but it may be for your particular method, it may be significant. Okay, so such variation should be, random event should be considered when you are developing intermediate precision. Okay, typical variations should be studied include days, analyst, equipment, etc. It is not considered necessary to study these effects individually. The use of experimental design metrics is encouraged. The last point say that all these variations you can study simultaneously. You need not study them separately. I will give you example of hypothetical example of the matrix, how you can develop a matrix. Okay, suppose before establishing the intermediate precision, suppose on day one, analyst 1 will operate equipment 1. On the same day, analyst 2 will operate equipment 2. On day 2, analyst 1 will operate equipment 2, and analyst 2 will operate equipment 1. So this particular thing is called as matrix for the experiment which determines the intermediate precision. Okay, this is very small hypothetical matrix. As you increase number of parameters that are to be considered for intermediate precision, the complexity of the matrix will go on increasing. Have you understood what is this matrix which is mentioned in the point? Yes. Okay, excellent. I will proceed then. Okay, so this was intermediate precision. Don't forget that it is intermediate precision. The last type of precision is reproducibility. Now, you need not consider reproducibility all the time. Reproducibility is assessed by means of inter-laboratory trials. Means you establish a procedure in one lab and then you try to apply the same procedure in another lab. When you change the lab, what all things going to change? Analysts are going to change. There will be different analysts in different lab. there will be different equipments in the different lab. It is possible that the environment of the lab is also different, the level of humidity, the level of temperature. Sometimes if the lab is at different altitudes, suppose one lab is at in Mumbai, some lab in Mumbai, and other lab is there in Himachal. Okay, so altitude will different. If altitude is different, the room pressure will also be different. Okay, so all these variations of the surrounding will come in picture. Okay, so the reproducibility should be considered in case of standardization of analytical procedure. Standardization of analytical procedure, for instance, for inclusion in pharmacopoeias. तो ऐसा अगर आप कोई मेथड डेवलप कर रहे हैं जो यूनिवर्सल है, that can be included in pharmacopoeias, then only reproducibility should be tested. Suppose, like, consider our day-to-day experiments in laboratory. Okay, we have devised our procedure as per the glasswares and equipments and expertise we have available with us in college lab. Simple thing, I will give you example. For the assay of paracetamol, there was 200 ml volumetric flask to be used as per pharmacopoeia. But we don't have 200 ml volumetric flask. We have 250 ml volumetric flask. So we changed the procedure in our journal. Okay. Now this changed procedure had some many changes, like we cannot afford dilutions from 50 ml to 1000 ml. So we did dilution from 5 ml to 100 ml to save the solvent. Okay. So this changed procedure is only for our lab. This changed procedure is not for included in pharmacopoeias. So we need not go for reproducibility. Can you correlate this reproducibility point with what we have done? And have you understood this reproducibility kind of precision? Shall I proceed? Any doubts? Okay. So when you are establishing precision, what are the data an analyst should produce to give as a proof that the procedure has precision? The standard deviation, relative standard deviation, RSD or coefficient of variation, and confidence interval. We have studied how to calculate confidence interval in the previous semester. So these three data points or data should be reported to for each type of precision investigated. So all for these three types of data should be given. Any doubt in precision? Any doubt? If there is no doubt, I will proceed. Only one student is saying there is no doubt. What about others? Or I have got disconnected. Okay, now I got the responses. No doubt. Okay. Okay, I will proceed then. Next validation parameter is specificity. Specificity means from I am going to quickly revise the definition, the term. Suppose there are 5 relatively similar substances in a formulation. Your procedure should specifically quantify or specifically identify the substance of your interest. Okay, मतलब सिंपल लैंग्वेज में आई विल ट्रांसलेट इन हिंदी. आप क्वांटिफाई कर रहे हो या आप आइडेंटिफाई कर रहे हो कोई तो सब्सटेंस जिसके साथ और भी कई सब्सटेंसेस प्रेजेंट है जो उससे बहुत सिमिलर है. व्हेन आई एम सेइंग सिमिलर टू द analyte, it means it can be similarity between structure, similarity in physical properties, similarity in chemical properties. Okay, the similarity may be visible similarity or similarity of the odor. So anything, the similarity between substances from the similar substances, your method should able to identify or quantify the substance of your interest. It is called as specificity. ओके, जनरली क्या होता है, जो डिग्रेडेशन प्रोडक्ट रहते हैं, कोई भी ड्रग के डिग्रेडेशन प्रोडक्ट, उसका जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है वो ओरिजिनल कंपाउंड के बहुत सिमिलर होता है. ओके, और देयर मे बी द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ ड्रग दैट इज प्रेजेंट in the tablet or in the formulation, so both the substances may be closely related. Okay, anyway, let's come to the methodology of specificity. An investigation of specificity should be conducted during the validation of identification test, the test of determination of impurities, and assays. So under only these three types of test, the specificity should be considered. For all other types of analytical procedures, you can neglect specificity. I repeat, अगर आप कोई तो नया आइडेंटिफिकेशन टेस्ट बना रहे हो, या फिर कोई तो इम्प्योरिटी है उसको डिटेक्ट करने के लिए आप नया प्रोसीजर बना रहे हो, या फिर नया ऐसे प्रोसीजर आप डेवलप कर रहे हो, सो ये तीन केस में ही आपको स्पेसिफिसिटी देखना है. इसके अलावा आपका कोई एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर होता है तो उसके लिए स्पेसिफिसिटी देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. ओके, कमिंग टू द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, द प्रोसीजर यूज्ड टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट स्पेसिफिसिटी विल डिपेंड ऑन द इंटेंडेड ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ द एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर. दिस इज सिमिलर टू प्रीवियस प्रिसीजन. आप कौन से चीज के लिए आपका मेथड डेवलप करने वाले हो. सो फॉर द आई एम सॉरी, very sorry for the disturbance. Okay, I was telling the second point. The intent of your procedure, analytical procedure, it should be consider when you are determining the specificity. Okay, I will quickly give you example. If your procedure is for determining the impurities, the procedure should be such that the procedure of the determining the specificity should be such that it should not consider the active pharmaceutical ingredient API. It should consider only the minute impurities that are present. Okay, it is not always possible to demonstrate that an analytical procedure is specific for a particular analyte. That is complete discrimination, complete separation. In this case, combination of two or more analytical procedure is recommended to achieve the necessary level of discrimination. This is particularly true, this second part is particularly true about all chromatographic techniques. Okay, all chromatographic techniques which are coupled with spectroscopic technique. See, suppose in a formulation you have an impurity to be determined. Now, when you are determining an impurity, first thing should be to separate the impurity from rest of the formulation. And second part is determining how much quantity is present. So for separation part, you use chromatographic method, and for quantification, you use spectroscopic method. So these two procedures are used in combination with each other. I will repeat. Chromatographic technique is used for separating your analyte or impurity from rest of the formulation, and your spectroscopic technique, it may be UV, it may be IR, it may be mass spectroscopy. That spectroscopic technique is used for determination of concentration. So third point is valid for most of the procedures for determining specificity. Okay, ये बहुत सारे टेक्निक में ये कॉम्बिनेशन यूज करते हैं, कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ टेक्निक्स, कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ प्रोसीजर्स. Okay, I hope this third point is clear. सो अंडर स्पेसिफिसिटी हमने देखा कि तीन मेथड है, आइडेंटिफिकेशन टेस्ट है, डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ इम्प्योरिटी है और ऐसे है. We will first start with identification. Okay. Suitable identification test should be able to discriminate between compounds of closely related structures which are likely to be present. Example can be given of that of degradation product. The discrimination of a procedure may be confirmed by obtaining positive results from samples containing the analyte coupled with negative results from samples which do not contain analyte. Okay, now for positive results we can compare our new new results with the reference material. Okay, uh, there are two parts in this particular point. Okay, I will first explain you the first part. The discrimination of a procedure may be confirmed by obtaining positive results, perhaps comparison with a known reference material. The favorite example, let us take paracetamol tablet. Okay, we will take paracetamol tablet. We will apply identification test that we have devised newly to the tablet and see the result. Suppose the result is color change from colorless to blue. Okay, so this is positive result as per our description. But whether this is really positive or not, what we will do, we will take pure paracetamol. We will not take paracetamol tablet. We will take paracetamol, pure paracetamol, which is reference material. We will apply our test to this pure paracetamol. If that test is also giving you colorless to blue color change, that means your method is applicable to reference material also. That means these are positive results. Okay. Similarly, now I am coming to the next part. Sample containing an analyte coupled with negative results from samples which do not contain analyte. Instead of taking paracetamol tablet, I can take a tablet which do not contain paracetamol. Okay, it may be a blank tablet or it may be tablet of some other drug, say aspirin ka tablet. When I apply my method to that particular tablet, it should not give me color change from colorless to blue. So positive results should be coupled with negative results. Okay, तो दोनों रिजल्ट अगर कपल करते हैं तो ही वो मेथड एक्सेप्टेबल है टू डिटरमाइन identification under specificity. Now, in addition to this, the identification test may be applied to material which are structurally similar or closely related to the analyte to confirm that positive response is not obtained. अगर पैरासिटामोल का कोई तो सिमिलर ड्रग है, बहुत बहुत स्ट्रक्चरली सिमिलर है ड्रग या फिर एनी केमिकल, I will apply my technique to that particular chemical and observe whether I'm getting color change or not. To give the specificity identification test, there should not be any color change. If the color change is observed from colorless to blue, that means my identification test under specificity is failing. The choice of such potentially interfering materials should be based on sound scientific judgment with consideration of the interference that could occur. This last point, ऐसे हो सकता है कि मेरे पास कोई तो एक सब्सटेंस है जो स्ट्रक्चरली सिमिलर है पैरासिटामोल से, लेकिन वो सिर्फ स्ट्रक्चरली सिमिलर है, वो उसका डिग्रेडेशन प्रोडक्ट नहीं है. इट इज ऑल्सो अनलाइकली टू बी प्रेजेंट इन एक्चुअल टैबलेट फॉर्मुलेशन. So I should not apply the test of identification to this compound, which is not going to be present or never going to be present in the tablet itself. Instead, I should be applying the test to the substances which are likely to be present, likely to be produced as degradation product within the tablet. Are you clear with all these 4 points? Have you understood all these 4 points? Okay. Any doubt? Anybody? Okay. After identification, The second type of test under specificity is assay and impurity test. They both are similar, so they are coupled together. Okay. पहले वाला क्या था? आइडेंटिफिकेशन. सेकेंड वाला क्या है? एसे एंड इम्प्योरिटी टेस्ट. For chromatographic procedure, they have specified that this is one part is for chromatographic procedure. For chromatographic procedure, a representative chromatogram should be used to demonstrate specificity. Next point will make it clear more. Individual components should be appropriately labeled. Similar consideration should be given to other separation techniques. Now, a typical chromatogram looks like something this. On x-axis, you generally have time. It may be in seconds or minutes. Okay, so on x-axis you have time, and on y-axis you have response. Now this response is in terms of detector. In most of the cases it is absorbance. In most of the cases it is absorbance. At time 0, there is nothing coming out of the chromatographic column. At certain time, after certain time, one of the compound coming of the column, when it is got detected by the detector, it will give peak. Second compound, when comes out of the column, it will give you a peak, which is given by the detector. Suppose this is for impurity that is present, and this peak is for API. So what you are looking here, the diagram I have drawn, this is called as chromatogram. इसको बोलते हैं chromatogram, which has got x-axis, y-axis, and a graph of the components in the in your sample. It may be your solution of active ingredient, or it may be the solution of your drug product. Okay, so ये जो आपको दिख रहा है, whatever I have drawn, this called as chromatogram. Okay, so for chromatographic procedure, the representative chromatogram should be demonstrated specificity. मतलब आपका impurity और API अलग अलग उसने आइडेंटिफाई किया है, अलग अलग दिखाया है क्रोमेटोग्राम पे. ये क्रोमेटोग्राम पे डिस्टिंक्टली दिखना चाहिए. ओके, द पीक शुड बी appropriately labeled. Okay, individual components should be appropriately labeled means these peaks which are observed in chromatogram should be appropriately labeled. Okay, इसके अलावा other than chromatographic technique, any other separation technique if you are using, it should be given similar treatment, that the chromatogram or the outcome of it should be preserved, and the peaks should be labeled properly. This is also true for your DSC curve. Okay, शायद आपको DSC curve, you remember those techniques, thermal techniques. As you go on heating, there are exothermic and endothermic curves. So these exothermic and endothermic curves should be labeled properly. Okay. Okay. I will move on to next point. Critical separations in chromatography should be investigated at an appropriate level. For critical separations, specificity can be demonstrated by resolution of the two components which elute closest to each other. Now, when we are talking about chromatogram in which peaks are very close to each other. Obviously, larger peak is of your analyte and smaller peak is of your impurity. Okay, so the distance between the peak is called as resolution. So resolution is important in this particular case. Okay, so your method which is demonstrating the specificity should demonstrate the resolution of two components. Okay, which one is coming out of the column first, which one is coming after the column. So it should be very significant from that, it should be very evident from the chromatogram. In case of a non-specific assay, in case where a non-specific assay is used, other supporting analytical procedures should be used to demonstrate overall specificity. For example, where a titration is adopted to the assay of drug substance for release, the combination of the assay and a suitable test for impurities can be used. Now, this example of titration, I will take help of it. Suppose your drug is acidic drug, okay, and you are using titration to demonstrate that your drug is present or not. Okay, so along with just acid based titration, there should be one assay method used that is ensuring that the drug substance which you are analyzing using the titration has got that particular substance. Now, please understand this part now. Suitable test for impurity. Impurities, if it is not assay, okay, if it is not assay, similarly, you should be coupling a method of impurity determination. So, combination of technique is expected over here in the last point. Any doubt here? Any doubt that you have? Okay. The approach is similar for both assay and impurity test. Okay, that we have seen. Okay, both are combined together. Okay, for the assay, for the specificity under assay, there are certain possibilities. Whether impurities are available, and if impurities are not available, what can be done? So there are two possibilities. First possibility, let us see when impurities are available. Okay. If impurities are available for the assay, this should involve demonstration of the discrimination of the analyte in the presence of impurities and or excipients. Practically, this can be done by spiking pure substance, drug substance or drug product with appropriate levels of impurity and or excipient and demonstrating that the assay result is unaffected by presence of these materials by comparison with the assay result obtained on the unspiked sample. Don't get confused with the wordings. It is similar to what we have studied already in accuracy and precision. Okay, हमको करना क्या है? We will take a drug sample. The drug sample will have your active drug ingredient and excipients. It may or may not have impurities. Okay. you are going to apply your method to that, you will get one result. Now you are going to intentionally add impurities when you are applying the method second time. इंटेंशनली इम्प्योरिटी ऐड करो अप्रोप्रिएट क्वांटिटी में, इम्प्योरिटी है तो कम क्वांटिटी में ऐड करना है, यू ऐड इट एंड अप्लाई द मेथड टू दैट फॉर्मुलेशन अगेन. If you are getting the same result as the previous result, that means your assay procedure is specific. Okay, I hope you understood. Now what about for the impurity test? ये तो हो गया assay के लिए. Now for impurity test, the discrimination may be established by spiking the drug substance or drug product with appropriate levels of impurities and demonstrating the separation of these impurities individually and or from other components of the sample matrix. Now, when we are saying impurity test, we need to differentiate between impurities. Okay, demonstrating the separation of these impurities individually. इसका मतलब क्या है? Suppose in first run, in your drug formulation or drug substance, you are adding one type of impurity and test whether your impurity test is giving or detecting or quantifying that particular impurity. In second run, you add another impurity. So in presence of one impurity and added impurity, you check whether your test, your methodology is giving you specific result for your impurity. Not the added one, not the additional one, the original impurity. If you are getting the same result both the times, that means your test for the impurity test is specific for that specific impurity. Have you understood the second part for impurity? Ruksar has not understood. Anyone else? किसी को समझा क्या? Okay, I will read again. For the impurity test, the discrimination, you understand discrimination, differentiation, may be established by spiking drug substance or drug product with appropriate levels of impurities. You are intentionally adding different impurities. Okay, the concentration should be sufficient, that is appropriate level, and demonstrating separation of these impurities individually. Generally impurity profiling के लिए HPLC यूज करते हैं. मतलब जब आप ये टेस्ट, when you are carrying out this test, you are carrying out HPLC. So when you are carrying out HPLC, your chromatogram should give you different peaks for different impurities. Okay, you should get different peaks for different impurities. That is what is expected from the test of impurity. देखो समझो, मैंने पहला एक सैंपल रन किया. ओके, ये सैंपल में क्या है? I have my drug substance and one impurity. So I should get only two peaks, one for impurity, other for the drug substance. I will add another impurity. So in this second chromatogram, suppose this is impurity X, I should be able to identify impurity X and differently added impurity Y. So what I am doing, I am discriminating different impurities. Have you understood it now?
Sir,
Yeah.
but in point number 1, it is mentioned that the result should be unaffected by the presence of impurities. So wouldn't that indicate that the procedure is insensitive?
This is for assay and this is for impurity test. Both are different things. In assay, you are determining your substance. You are determining, say, paracetamol in presence of impurity. So irrespective what impurity is present, I'm talking about assay, huh? no matter what impurity is present, your method of assay should specifically determine paracetamol. In second case, you are interested in what impurity is present. So in second case, you are not determining how what is present as API. You are not interested in paracetamol. You are interested in impurity. So in presence of paracetamol also, and in presence of some extra impurity also, you are accurately determining impurity Y.
Okay,
Have you
so in the
understood the difference?
so in
Yes.
assay procedure, we are not determining impurity at all. So the impurity present should not affect the results at all.
Yes, yes. Whatever may be the impurity or in whichever quantity it is present. Okay, when I'm saying whichever quantity, it should not be more than analyte. The concentration of impurity should be like impurity, like 10%, 20%, like that, not more than that. जो
Okay,
एक्चुअल
sir.
प्रैक्टिस में आपको मिलेगा फॉर्मुलेशन में, वो रेंज में होना चाहिए इम्प्योरिटी.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Understood.
shall I
Thank you.
proceed? Shall I proceed, everyone? Okay. This is the last part. लास्ट पार्ट अंडर स्पेसिफिसिटी. देखो कई बार क्या होता है ना, जब इन्फॉर्म प्रोजेक्ट लेते हैं इम्प्योरिटी प्रोफाइलिंग का या इम्प्योरिटी डिटर्मिनेशन का, we always come across this type of situation where we don't have impurities available in our lab. Okay. uh, why this happens? Because impurities are more expensive than your actual API. Okay, they are more expensive. Okay, I will read out, then I will explain. If impurity or degradation product of the standards are unavailable, specificity may be demonstrated by comparing test results of sample containing impurities or degradation products to the second well characterized procedure. That means here we are comparing two procedures. Okay. For example, pharmacopoeial method or other validated method analytical procedure, independent procedure as appropriate. This should include samples stored under relevant stress conditions like light, heat, humidity, acid-base hydrolysis, oxidation. For the assay, two results should be compared. For impurity test, the impurity profile should be compared. Peak purity test may be useful to show that the analyte chromatographic peak is not attributed to more than one component. Now, I will explain points one by one. I think this first point is clear to you. Okay. If impurity or degradation product standards are unavailable, the specificity may be demonstrated by comparing the test results of sample containing impurities or degradation products to a second well characterized procedure. आपके पास impurity available नहीं है, तो ऐसा product लो कि जिसमें impurity already present है. अभी कैसे पता चलेगा ऐसा impurity already present है वो product में? Simple. You will take a tablet, suppose it is a paracetamol tablet, and you will heat paracetamol tablet, say for 1 hour. Obviously, paracetamol is going to degrade inside it. So that tablet will have impurities in it. So for that product, you definitely have impurity. Apply your method to that degraded tablet and apply already established method to that degradation tablet. Then जो भी आपका outcome आता है result का, you should compare your results with the established method. So these 2 points are telling you that. Okay. So these 2 points are telling you the same, what I just explained. If it is assay method that you are developing, two results should be compared. If it is impurity test, impurity profile should be compared. Now, what is impurity profile? I will tell you what is impurity profile. Impurity profile is true for chromatograms. Generally, for a chromatogram, there is a peak for your active ingredient, and then there are many small peaks. There are small peaks for impurities. So there will be one chromatogram by standard method, established method, and one chromatogram from your method. So chromatogram, that is profile from your method, should be compared with this established method. Have you understood this point? This is called as comparing impurity profiling. Okay. Peak purity test may be useful to show that the analyte chromatographic peak is not attributed to more than one component. Now, this is particularly true for if you are using photodiode array, or mass spectrometry as the detector to get your chromatogram. Okay. This means a single peak. कोई तो एक पीक है, एक इसको ही आप बोल रहे हो कि आपका एपीआई का पीक है, और इसको इसी पीक को आप बोल रहे हो कि ये इम्प्यूरिटी का भी पीक है. So this thing will not be accepted. Okay. So this is called as peak purity test, whether you are accurately labeling your peaks. Okay. So that was the last point under specificity. If you have doubt under any point, you can ask me after you give your attendance.